Good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everyone doing on this early Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday morning. I pray that you was able to get some good rest and you're up and getting ready for work or getting the kids ready for school or just sitting down having a cup of coffee and reading a paper or reading your word, spending a little time with the Father. However way God has allowed you to wake up this morning, whatever he has allowed you to enjoy is a blessing. Somebody didn't make it this morning. So if God allowed you to wake up this morning, we ought to find a reason to tell him thank you. Don't wait till the battle is over. Start thanking him in the midst of the battle. That's when you are letting him know that you trust him. You're letting him know, I know the battle has already been won, but I still have to show up for the fight. Sometimes we just have to show up. I'm showing up. So I'm continue reading our daily devotional. Today is September the 28th, Wednesday, September 28th. And I'm still reading in Jesus in Red, Jesus in Red. And the title of today's devotional is Life's Busyness. Life busyness. Martha, Martha, you are worried and troubled about many things, but one thing is needed, and Mary has chosen that good part, which will not be taken away from her. Luke 10:41 through 42. Martha was seriously mistaken. She was busy doing legitimate things, but she didn't make time to sit at the master's feet. See how we can get so busy doing this and doing that and going here and going there, self-serving someone else. The kids got to do this. The kids got to go there. We got a hair appointment. We got a nail appointment. We got a feet appointment. We got a lash appointment. We got so much things to do in a day. But when it's time to sit at the master's feet, we're just completely worn out. We don't even know if we're coming or going. We don't even know what day it is. We don't even know what time it is. Never before has life been this easy for most of us. We take the convenience of transportation for granted. Whether cars or planes, communication is communication is prevalent around the world. Air conditioned, fast foods, automatic doors, iPads, and microwaves all make life so much easier. Still, we are stressed and busy. We have all those things at our fingertips, and yet and still we find a way to be busier. It's the trick of the enemy. No matter how busy or how necessary our endeavors may be, nothing should come before our relationship with God. Period. That actually is a period there. He is our first love. Have you a busy day ahead? Question mark. Then get up early and sit at the feet of Jesus. If you know you got to get up at a certain time, what this verse is saying, get up a little early and spend a little time with the Father. Don't try to squeeze him in, because you know why? You're not going to ever squeeze him in. Read his word. Still your heart. Give him your requests. Give him your love. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Choose the good part, because this one thing is needed. Everything that we feel like that we have to do today, nothing should be more important than sitting at the Father's feet. Sitting at his feet to see what's on his heart. See what he wants to tell you. We don't know what we're missing because we're so busy. If Johnny don't get to the game, okay, if Johnny missed the game, it's not the end of the world. You know, Susan didn't make cheer practice. It's not the end of the world. And I've seen some parents completely fall apart. I've known people's schedule is so busy, I don't even know how they even enjoy life. Their kids are in everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. And I'm not saying, God is not saying that there's anything wrong with that. But when that becomes a priority over him, that's a problem. When you ain't got time to stop and say, Lord, I thank you for the air. I thank you for waking me. I thank you for activities in my limbs. I thank you for blessing me to be in my right mind. That's a problem. Now it's time to do some soul searching. Have I set time aside today? Question mark. Have I made the time to sit at his feet? Question mark. And the prayer is, Father, every day remind me of the cross. Sometimes we need to be reminded what Jesus did, his suffering, his sacrifice, you know, what he went through before he was nailed to the cross, how he was persecuted, lied on, rejected, all those things that he went through before he went to the cross. So we have to remember that, you know, like it said, if you know you have to get up at a certain time, get up before that time and just spend a little time. I'm speaking to the choir, you know. I got to get up and do that as well. Like I said, when I get up and do these devotional, it's not just for you all, it's also for me as well. But it is a choice to take it in. It's a choice to examine yourself. It's a choice to look back and say, am I so busy that, Lord, I haven't even said thank you? And then by the end of the day, you're trying to lay up in bed or sit up in a chair or whatever and pray, or get on your knees and pray. And you're so tired, you're so worn out that you sleep before you sit or lay down or kneel. It shouldn't be. And I think we're all guilty of that. I know there'll be some that say, you know, that they're not guilty, and that's okay. That's between you and your Father. See, he knows what you're doing. He knows what I'm doing. He knows what I'm not doing. He knows what you're not doing. So we don't have to try to impress one another. We don't have to try to outdo one another, you know, when we're in each other's presence. What are you doing behind closed doors? What are you doing in secret? That's the question. What are you doing in secret? And I want to read this. It's in my study Bible. It's still the Luke 10. This is 38 through 42. Mary and Martha both loved Jesus. On this occasion, they were both serving him. One was at his feet and one was, you know, doing house chores and different things like that. But Martha thought Mary's style of serving was inferior to hers. She didn't realize that in her desire to serve, she was actually neglecting her guests. You know, it's just like I come over to your house and visit, and you don't sit down and connect with me, communicate with me. You're doing laundry, you're mopping floors, you know, you're washing dishes, you're folding, you're doing all of this stuff. That means I don't have your attention. You know, there's no sense of inviting someone to your home if you don't have time to spend that time with them. Because when you have company, it should be about them. You should be able to sit at the kitchen table. You should be able to sit at the front room and give that individual your undivided attention. Period, point blank. Are you so busy doing things for Jesus that you're not spending any time with him? See, sometimes we think just because we're busy, we're pleasing God. He ain't talked to you all day. He ain't heard from you all day. You ain't called his name none of the day. You ain't told nobody about him. So, I mean, what are you doing? It just works. It looks good. You look busy. Somebody can give you the pat on the back. Somebody can say, boy, look at such and so and so. Boy, I mean, they are busy. I mean, busy doing what? And God ain't even heard from you in weeks. See, we want to make sure we're pleasing him. It's easy to start pleasing people. It's easy to start pleasing people because we all want to look good in the eyes of one another. But we are neglecting the true guest, our first love. Don't let your service become so self-serving. Jesus did not blame Martha for being concerned about household chores. He was only asking her to set priorities. God, what he is saying here, he wants to be a priority. He wants to be your number one. We can't expect God to make us his number one, but when it comes to him, there's options, there's choices. No, if you want to be number one, you got to make him number one. They're just like in a marriage. Your spouse wants to be number one. But if you making your friends and still some of your family number one, that partner is going to begin to feel neglected. He was only asking her, we got to learn to set priorities. We got to learn to make him a priority. And he needs to come above everything else that we got going on in our lives. Because when we are in real trouble, I'm talking about real trouble, matter of life and death trouble, we don't call on our chores. We don't call on our jobs. We don't call on friends and family. Who do we call on? We call on Jesus. And we don't want to be found just calling him when we need him. How about just calling on him when everything is good, when we have everything at our fingertip, that we're not in lack. All the bills are paid. You done went shopping. Don't wait until you find yourself in a situation and then all of a sudden you start calling on him and he's like, who are you? Because he haven't heard from you. You know what I'm saying? You know how it is. Sometimes I don't see people for a long time. And where I live is a small town. And sometimes I run into people and they be like, girl, where you been? I thought you had to move. And I've been here all along. So, let's do better. Let's do better. Don't wait till trouble hit. Don't wait till trouble come. Don't wait till your life is just all out of order and just this is happening and that is happening. And then we start calling him and he's like, who is this? It's been so long that your number is no longer programmed. Your name is no longer programmed. And you go to call and, man, how come Jesus not picking up? He probably, how sometimes when Lord, the Holy Spirit just drop it. How when somebody go to calling you and it's unknown name or unknown number or it's private and you just let it ring like, man, who in the world? Who is this? Well, how you think that make Jesus feel? When we just only call on him when we in trouble. Don't get it twisted. He wants you to call on him when he is, when we are in trouble. But don't allow that to be the only reason why you call on him is when you're in trouble. Okay. He was only asking her to set priorities. Service to Christ can generate into mere busy work that is no longer full of devotion to God. You can get so caught up and, like I said, doing this and doing that, and all you doing that's self-serving. You're making yourself look busy, and God ain't even heard from you until when you do start calling on him. He's looking like, who? Unknown. Private. No name. I mean, he don't even reckon, I mean, nothing is showing up because it's been so long since he heard from you. So we don't want to be caught. We don't want to be caught just reaching out to God when we are in a pickle, when we are in a situation. We want God to always know who we are. We should always want that when we call his name, he don't even have to look down. Why? He know your voice. He know your voice. He said, I know that cry. You know, when you I don't care, you can be in a crowd and there's something about your baby's cry that when you hear him crying, oh, I don't care how many babies crying, you gonna know your baby's cry. And if you raising grandkids, you gonna know they cry as well. You want God to know your cry. You don't want him looking around saying, who is that calling my name? No. You want to be in, you want to have that relationship that the moment you just open up your mouth, he feel the breath coming out of you. I know who that is. That's Yolanda. Listen, I already know. So that's how we want our relationship to be. We want our relationship to be to the point that all we got to do is open up our mouth. I don't care if it's a whisper. I don't care if it's a moan. He know who you are. Don't get so busy. Don't get so caught up that you're just busy work. Yeah, you working, but it's self-serving. Because in other words, he's not getting it. There's no benefit for him. He's not getting anything out of it. He gets out of when we set things aside and we sit at his feet. Because there's times where he wants to speak to us. There's time he wants to talk to us. And he is not going to knock you down and say, sit down and listen to what I got to say. No, he wants to be a priority. And just like in a natural marriage, your wife, your husband shouldn't have to drag you by the arm and say, honey, babe, whatever you may call one another. I want to talk to you. I need to talk to you. No, if you're in a relationship, there should come a time where it's just almost like a magnet, where you both find yourself just sitting at the table and you're conversating with one another and you having that moment with one another. That's how you make a person feel needed, wanted. Well, God is the same way. He wants us to invite him. He wants us to need him, to want him, to desire him. You got to understand, we serve a jealous God. And he don't want us putting nothing or no one before him. He gave up his only son for us. And he don't want us put nothing or nobody before his son. And I think, if we was to sit and think about that, if we gave up our only child, just as God gave up his, we wouldn't want nobody putting nothing or nobody before our child. If your child has won any type of award and you're at a ceremony and all of these kids is getting certificates and medals and whatever they give away, and your child is overlooked, oh, you ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing. Parents will plumb clown. I'm talking about act a complete fool. Don't be looking over Susan. Don't be looking over Johnny. We'll act a fool. But then it seems like we can't understand that God is wanting us to acknowledge his firstborn, his first love. Let's bring it in. Let's think about how we would feel. So with that being said, I got to get off here. I got to hit this highway. I'm just grateful this morning. I'm just really grateful this morning. God has been good to me. He really has been good to me. I don't have no sad story. He's really been good to me. He's been my all in all. Like I said, things have been rough, but he has been faithful. And I'm grateful for that. I am so grateful. So much has happened in my life in the last couple of years. I don't even have to go back that far. The last couple of years, and he has been faithful. You know, there's many that have walked away, that have turned their back, and they have, because sometimes you get tired. You get tired. Sometimes God gets silent, and you just feel like, Lord, I just don't know how much more longer I can keep going. I just don't know how much more longer I can hold on. I don't know how much more longer I can keep showing up. Sometimes you just want to just throw in the towel. But at that moment, God wants you to press in just a little further. Press in just a little longer. And that's what I've had to do. Oftentimes, I've had to encourage myself, even while I'm out encouraging someone else. But I'm grateful that God have taken me through some things that caused me to know him on another level. Not only to know him on another level, but to also, I got to know me. I got caught up in pleasing people and being what people needed and being where people needed me to be. But I was neglecting my Father. I was neglecting what he was calling me to do. I was just like what we just got through reading. I was busy, but I was really busy doing nothing. And when I was stripped away, I walked away with nothing. Don't get so caught up in pleasing people that when it's all said and done, it's just you. That was a hard lesson, but it was a lesson that I needed to learn. And now I make him a priority. Why? Because he said he would never leave me nor forsake me. Many walked away. But that's okay. That's okay. He stayed planted. He stayed near. And I'm grateful this morning. It was a hard lesson, but I thank God for it. Because now I know not to do it again. I won't do that again. I won't give up me for anybody else. I did that. I was guilty of that. But no more. I know better now. So with that being said, I pray I said something or something was said that will cause whomever that comes on this live or after the live to just examine yourself. Examine yourself and see, have you been making God a priority, or has he been an option? And it's not to condemn yourself or batter yourself. Just, like that saying says, when you know better, you do better. When you know better, you do better. So all you have to do is just say, Lord, help me. Help me to make you a priority in my life. Things that I can just push aside or things that could just wait. Because you're going to always have laundry. You're going to always have to cook. You're going to always have to clean. So those things are just things that we can prioritize. But our relationship with the Father, it should be top priority. That's it. That's all. I pray that everyone have an amazing day. Don't allow no negativity. Don't you be negative. Don't entertain it. Speak life. Whatever you're going through, whatever you're facing, whatever you have need of, take it to the Father. Take it to him. Sometimes we go through things. Sometimes we're in need of things. And he is the only one that can give us what truly what we need. So I pray everyone have an amazing day. Again, speak life. I don't care what you're going through. I don't care what you're facing. I don't care what it looked like. I don't care what this one is saying. I don't care what that one is saying. Speak life. The Bible said life and death is in the power of your tongue. It's what you speak. What you speak is what you'll see. What you speak is what you'll give birth to. What you speak is what you'll harvest. So we got to be careful what we're speaking in this hour. So until next time, everyone be blessed. And I'm grateful for everyone that came on, that just hung in there with me. I thank God for you all, because you could be doing anything else. But I thank God for you deciding to just come out and just hang out with a sister. God bless you. A big thanks to those that will tune in after. I thank God for you as well. As long as you coming on, as long as you getting this message, as long as you're receiving it, as long as you're applying it, it doesn't matter if you come on during the live or if you come on after. God sees your heart, and that's all that matters. Until next time, everyone, just be blessed and speak life.